In the vast expanse of the Endless Possibilities podcast, we find ourselves in the company of an extraordinary guest. Meet Marko C. Lorenz, a vanguard in the realm of consciousness research and brainwave technology. From an early age, Marko was entranced by the elasticity of time and space, a fascination that set him on a course to unravel the enigma of reality and consciousness. He recounts a time when he danced with death, a health crisis that turned into an opportunity for self-discovery, deepening his meditation practice and propelling him into profound states of consciousness. Marko's journey is inked in the pages of his book, The Great Mystery, and echoed in his popular YouTube channel. His encounters with DMT and Enlightenment have fundamentally reshaped his understanding of the world. As we peel back the layers of his experiences, we explore the interconnectedness of consciousness, the potency of belief systems, and the potential for personal evolution through altered states of awareness. In the company of our host Gareth, prepare to delve into a world of endless possibilities with Marko C. Lorenz.
Hello, and welcome to the Endless Possibilities podcast. My name is Gareth, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Marko C. Lorenz. Hi, Marko. How are you?
Hi, Gareth. Thank you for your invitation, and I'm so happy to be here today with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to give a quick intro into Marko and his work. So today we are joined by Marko C. Lorenz, a leading figure in the field of consciousness research and a pioneer in the application of brainwave technology. As the founder of the renowned Brainwave Entertainment Research Institute and the author of the acclaimed book, The Great Mystery, Marko has made a significant impact far beyond his field. His commitment and research have inspired thousands to explore the mysteries of human consciousness and to expand their own mental capabilities. In addition to his writing and research, Marko reaches a broad audience as a successful YouTuber, discussing topics related to consciousness expansion and mental growth. His videos provide not only profound insights into theory, but also practical guidance that has helped many people transform their lives. Today, we are excited to delve deeper into his thoughts and learn more about how he translates his vision and scientific findings into transformative experiences for people around the world. Marko, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. So let me just give a little bit of background on how I met Marko. We go back about 5 years now, and I was on a 5-day intensive with very well-known Thomas Campbell, who's a physicist and consciousness researcher. And I came across Marko and a guest who was on the podcast 2 weeks ago, Jürgen. And the three of us hit it off extremely well. And we had lots of great conversations over the 5 days. I don't think we did any of the exercises that were planned on the. Yeah, we just totally skipped all of that. We just had this great friendship and we got on great and lots of great stuff happened. So Marko, welcome. And I guess we'll get started by you just giving us a little bit of feedback on what got you started into all of this.
Yeah, it started for me when I was a small children. I think when I was small and I see people in front of me, I can't make the eye from them so big, or I can make the head so small, like 1-2 centimeters. So the time and space was very complicated for me, or let's say individual. Yeah? And when I get my focus and my attention on one point in the room, I was in a different reality. And so when I come to the school, I forget that it was normal for me to change time and space. And one day, a lot of years ago, I was there and I had a hypnosis. And in this hypnosis, we make a regression. And in this regression, I get my remembers back from my childhood. And then I wake up from this hypnosis and I say, oh my God, this wall does not exist in front of me, but it's still true. It's still there. And I can see that I can't go through the wall. And so I start to make a research about my life, about the reality, also to find really and where we came from, and if there is a God, where is he, and why he makes so not so cool stuff on this earth. Yeah, and so my consciousness journey starts at this point, and then I start to make first research in reading, and I read, and I stopped to count it now, but thousands of books about consciousness and physics and everything. And then I open a research laboratory for expand consciousness, because I changed the knowledge to practice. Because I see this is knowledge, and knowledge is only knowledge, but it doesn't help me. It's only for the mind. And that what's really helped me was self-experience. So to sit down and to start experience and to transform knowledge in true, or to generate true and transform from the true knowledge. And this was the beginning of my really journey. So I make the laboratory, and I have all things what you can imagine for measure consciousness, from EEG and heart and everything what's possible on this planet. I had it in this room, and I meditate off. And I started with a very simple meditation technique. It was so easy. It was, you breathe in and you say inside you, in, and you breathe out and you say out, and then you stop after 2 minutes, and then you have 10 seconds with nothing, stillness. And then the first thought come, and it say, oh my God, can't no thoughts. And this was the first thought.
Yeah.
And but what I do is I take this practice and make it so intensive that I come in this deep state of consciousness. And then I have a very good luck, because I have a sickness at this time, and it was 3 months. And always when I wake up, I have here everything in the neck was closed, and I have no air. So I wake up in the night and I can't breathe. Before I dream that I can't breathe, and then I wake up and they say, oh, it's true, my body can't breathe and I need to die now, maybe. And it was 3 times a day around, and it was for 3 months. And this experience was very intense for me, because you have 3 things to choose when you have this experience. So you can't breathe. First is you lay down and you hope that when you lose your consciousness, you come back and come in panic. Yeah. The second was you lay down, and maybe the first was fall in panic. It's not a good idea. The second is you lay down, lose your consciousness, and hopefully you wake up. And the third one, this is that what I choose always, was I come to this moment where I think, okay, I accepted that maybe this is my last moment on this planet, and my life is now gone. And I release everything. I release everything what I hold, myself, and I'm ready for die. And so I train this 3 months, 3 times a day to die. And when I later after this, or let's say practical training from the big consciousness, after this, when I start to meditate, I train it to release myself and to fall in deep states of consciousness. And this was so the first main technique what I use to generate other states of consciousness. Yeah.
Marco, was that like an asthma attack you were having continuously?
Yeah, nearly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inflammation.
Okay.
Mhm.
Lung inflammation.
Yeah.
So that was going
Very-
on, and for like 3 months, and you were surrendering to the possibility that you could die at any moment, right?
Yes.
And was that used to help you to shed fear, would you say?
Yes. This helped me a lot transform the fear of the death, and my 3 near-death experience what I had. There I learned that it's completely that the consciousness will stay alive after the death. And
Yeah.
also later comes around 1,000 near out of body experience. And when you make 1,000 out of body experience, then the death of fear is a very small thing.
Okay. So what age were you when this was happening, Marko?
It was around 20 years ago. So I was 20.
Okay. So you were 20. You started having, did the out of body experiences just spontaneously start to happen? Or was that something that you wanted to have, right? Did you read about it? Was it an interest?
Yeah. I read it first time in a book, and it was for me like the first love. So this can happen. Yeah. So in this time I was data forensics analyst guy. So very logical in the brain. And it was when I read it first time, really so, oh my God, when this happened, when this is possible, I'm the happiest person on this planet. But if not, this will be the biggest joke from the gods, for us, for everyone. And so I make a research on the internet. What is with this? And a lot of people write about their experience. And I say, oh my God, thousands of people write, and there are books. And so this must be a phenomenon. And I don't know it. And then I start to make deep research about it. So I read all books about, and I read all techniques what you can find in the internet, and I train it. And I make it from this day. It was really, I live a life before this day. And after this day, I have 12 hours with out of body experience every day. So 6 hours of them is reading and 6 hours is practice. And this was 1 year. And in this 1 year, I have not one experience. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, I know exactly what that feels like, Marko,
Yeah.
because I was very similar. I done the same. I read all the books. I started practicing and nothing, I think it wasn't a year for me. It was a little bit less, but I mean, the frustration, right? It's like you're reading all these people's experiences and nothing is happening. And you think, am I the only one who can't do this? Is this like a cosmic joke?
I know you. Yeah. And after this 1 year, I come to this moment where I accept, okay, this is not existing for me. And I release it. So I say, I come back to my old life without out of body experience. But what I do is I still read books about, and I still but I release it that I wanted. And then my first out of body experience comes, and it comes because I was in a train, and it was very late at night, and I don't sleep 24 hours before. So I was very tired, and I was in the train. It was night, and I look out of the window, and it was dark, but the light from the train was on, and I see myself inside, and I look out, and I see, oh my God, my head is behind me, and I'm sleeping, and I look back, oh my God, this is the second version of myself, and this was the first moment where I accept, it still exists. It's really a experience. And then I learn it's a mix of serotonin and melatonin hormone in the brain, what you generate. And I was in this moment, exact in the middle. I was awake and I was so tired that a part of myself is sleeping. And this combination make it exactly that I have my first experience. And when I have this, I come back to home, come back to my laboratory, and make all experience with this knowledge, what I learned then from this melatonin and serotonin. So I sleep 4 hours, then I wake up, and I was still aware for 1 hour to generate a lot of serotonin to be aware. And then I go back and I hear frequencies and everything to go to sleep, but to hold me awaken. And then
So you're using brainwaves, like binaural beats? Used to help?
This time I generate, I produces my head. Then my first experience start, and then my second, and I learn it better, and I learn everything. What was the blocker? Why it doesn't work? And I learn what was that? What I have to do to force it, and then I combine it together, and so it starts from 1 week that to have 1 or 2 experience. But some weeks later, it was 4 or 5 experience. And later I produce this laboratory and everything together to come there and to start it. And 10 minutes later, I have 100% experience. And 1 year later, it was so good that everyone can come there. I press play, and 20 seconds later, everyone have an out-of-body experience. And this was amazing because a friend of mine, he comes there and he have in 20 seconds a near-death experience. Because at this time, I read a study about in a hospital, and they make a study from people when they make an operation at the brain or at the heart, when maybe they can die. And if they die at the operation, they connect the EEG on the brain and see what's happened after he died. And the name of this study is EEG of death. And I see the EEG of death, and I make a frequency to simulate this, what's happened when you die. And so I here always still want to simulate my brain to die, and in combination to release myself with my first practice to die really, to produce the body-own DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and to release this molecule in the brain to make this experience. And then then my real journey begins with the big out-of-body experience and with the exploration of the that what's happened when you release your everything about yourself.
Okay. So I've got some questions, right, Marko? And in your research, what is it that is the block for people going out of body, right? Why does it happen? Because I meet a lot of people, right, who are interested in spirituality and consciousness, and a lot of people don't have out of body experiences, but then I meet some people who just spontaneously have them, right? Or they have a period in their lifetime where they just start happening. So what is it why do some people have them and some not? What's holding some people back?
So first is what I learned. What's the critical thing? It's to want it. So the people who have problems, these are the people who they want it so much that they generate a wall between them and the experience, and this wall is become bigger. If you want it more, the wall it's a big firewall. Yeah. The second is to hold on. So they hold how it will be. They read so much and they think it must be this, and they wait for the vibration, but it's different things happen. And so the critical mind is the whole time active. And if the critical mind is active and you are not ready to release yourself and to come in this state of, okay, let's see what's happening. And I'm in an experience where I only wait and explore what's happened, and I don't know what's happened. Yeah, then it's a door opener. The next thing is fear. A lot of people have, especially when you make an out-of-body experience, is mostly for the beginners, kind of the same when you make a near-death experience, because you make the first experience like, you see, you lie there and maybe you are dead. Yeah. And you have fear about it. It's normal. Yeah? So, and a lot of people read a lot of crazy stuff in the internet, that a lot of crazy stuff, and they have fear about. And so fear is also a big blocker. And the next is the imagination. So when you have imagination about how it will be, what it must happen, when this, then it's a big blocker. This is what the main 4 things what I learn about.
Yeah. So the fear, so the prelude to having an out of body experience is what's known as the vibrational state, right? And it's like, it feels so real and physical, and it's like, moving up and down, almost like an earthquake early on, right? It can be very, very violent. And I can imagine how a lot of people would fear that. It would go, oh my God, what's happening? Is this me dying? Am I going to leave my body and not come back?
Especially when they don't know this is an out of body experience, and this is a normal experience there, they think
Yeah.
I'm sick and they go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. I've met people who
Yeah.
didn't know what that, yeah, or they
Mhm.
experience sleep paralysis
Yeah.
is another big one where they just can't move. Their body is asleep, but their consciousness is still awake, and they somehow, become awake and they feel that their body is being held down by something.
And crazy stuff becomes there.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it very
Voices
good.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So Marco, okay, so you started then to replicate these out of body states, right? Using
Mhm.
technology. You were using frequencies, you maybe had these EEGs that you were hooking up to people. You were able to bring people along and replicate the out of body experience.
Yes.
So what does that look like? How did that go? Did you start doing like little small retreats, groups of people? What
Yes.
happened there?
Also, as a first, what I do is I produce an app. Name is Brainwave 3D. 3D. It's also in English available. And in this
Yeah.
app, I generate a lot of frequencies with hypnosis and meditation and everything to force this outer state of consciousness. And in this app, it's also in the shop. I generate a technology to force it very fast. First, what I do was a lot of people use binaural beats, but this is only a point to come to a point. And what my idea was always to force it, to think out of the box. And when you see shamans in the jungle, they have drum and they drum and they dance around. So what they do in true is they generate an isochrone tone, and with the turn around the whole time, they generate a dissociation. So in the brain there is one part. It's the Pantrallappen in the Boardman areal 32 and 38. This is the state where you think who you are and where you are. And what I do is I simulate this state so I make it a pink noise with isochrone tone, but very silent, so you doesn't hear it with the earphones. And I take it around the head with a speed, and then this part of the brain is stimulated. At the same time, it stops, and the brain comes in on what's happened now. And then it comes again, and it was faster and slower. And I find a technique, also a model, what works very fast to stimulate this part of the brain. And then I generate also the music. When I make a meditation, I look at Google Maps. I have to go. So when in this meditation on the left side is a waterfall, and you go there and you look left and you turn around and you go in the wood inside. Then I look in Google Maps. There is this, and I have an ambisonics mic. So it's a mic where you have on every place a mic, and I walk this way that when you hear the meditation, you have the feeling you are really there, and it's on the left side, and you turn around and it's now on the right side, and it moves. Or when the rain comes or the thunder, you hear it really, really in the sky, and 1 meter under you, you hear the drops from the rain under you. So you have the think, I'm really there. So it's from the virtual reality technique to to fall deep in the story and to
So it's
lose.
almost like you're replicating like a virtual reality with sound, right?
Yeah. Mhm. And to fall in this story. And because the thing is, and the music what I produce is also, this is also the name why the name is Brainwave 3D, because the music is also made in 3D. Because when you hear the music, the piano or a Zen voice, it's not, you hear it, it's there and it moves everywhere. So people who have ADHS, the syndrome, they helped with dissociation. So they sit there and they have hear the voice and there, and they stop thinking because they come in the state of awareness, because they think now, from where comes now the next? but they don't know it and they stop thinking of it. And this is that what I do. Binaural beats with this pink noise, what's circling around you, then the music, it's in 3D and you don't know what's happened now from when. So you stop thinking. And the next is what I do is I produce it in my shop, braver3d.com, a very 32-bit versions of it, because when you have more bit, you have 4.5 billion informations per second. And this makes that the brain can the wave from the theta wave or delta wave, what you prefer to hear, accept it. And the combination together helps to come in a very fast in another state of consciousness, especially when you hear it and you can release yourself. Let's say you can really do like you die, and then the experience starts very fast. And especially when you started to hear it at night or in the middle of the night, the body starts to, you need to move yourself or to do this and this, because it's a test from the body. The body think, okay, let's see if you're aware. And when you don't move, then body think, and what I do when the body test start, I don't move myself, and I go in my imagination. I'm in the kitchen and I cook something. So I generate pictures, and the body think, oh, he sleeps, because he generate pictures, and the frequency tells, he's still in a dream. And then the body produce melatonin, but you have enough serotonin to hold you aware in this state. And then the exit comes very fast. Yeah.
So that's body awake, body asleep, mind awake, right? And what's happening is the body's actually testing you, right? It's trying to see if there's an itch. Will you scratch it, just to make sure that, and it's kind of I think the mechanism behind it is to make sure that you're not dreaming, and then all of a sudden you start running off, you start running or shouting or screaming during the dream, and injuring yourself. Okay, fascinating, Marko. Okay, so you've started having lots and lots of out-of-body experiences. I know we spoke about, like, you started to experience shifts in consciousness. I think you also had lots of journeys where you met guides, your guides. Can we talk a little bit about that and like, what started happening? Well, like, what started happening to Marko, like Marko's consciousness, as he started to get into these realities, experience that there was a greater reality than here where we are on Earth. And how did that start to change you?
First, what I learned is that what you think, the truth, is a very important thing, because the imagination is that what's behind the truth. Because when you think your truth is, your name is Gareth, you live there, behind under you is a floor. When you need air to breathe, if not, you will die. When you look up, you see the sky, and the sky is blue. So it's everything true for yourself. And this true is a very interesting thing. It's generate the true of yourself. And what's also behind the true is we all hold on past things. So everything what's happened in our story, that what's for us emotional, we hold it. It's good, we hold it. It's bad, we hold it stronger. And this is a big problem. This problem is not only on the earth, it's in every reality where I was. The people have a problem with releasing. It's okay. But when you come there and you see the other people, they live there, and you speak with them, in every reality, you can find out that the people have a problem with truth. And because everywhere is everyone who tell them how it is, how it have to be. And they accept this truth. And so they hold with this exception from, let's say, religions, to hold them in this matrix. So when this truth is so hard with your identity, with everything what you think about yourself and the reality, then it starts to hold you in this matrix and you can't go out.
Belief trap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is even beings in different realities that you're interacting with, they all fall into this belief trap as well, right? And they probably
Yes.
believe that they're in a 3D reality and that it's
Yeah.
fixed and they can't get out of it.
Yes. What I learned is that when you become a little bit more skeptical about and you don't believe everything what the people say, it's not so easy that the matrix can hold you inside this reality. And so the exit is it's a lot of easier. And also what's very, very important is to start to think your own thoughts, because everywhere where I come, also on this planet, the people need other people. They have to tell them anything and they accept it. So it's very crazy, but they have to learn to start think for yourself, to live in your own dream and your own reality, and to start to generate that what you want and not what the other want. Yeah. And this is also I think what I think it's very important to integrate.
Okay, so when did you start to notice the quality of your consciousness starting to change, Marco, with these experiences? So you were going into these realities, and I've done it as well. But early on, I didn't notice an awful lot of like spiritual growth happening with me
Mhm.
with the initial OBEs. It was like, first of all, it was like, oh, isn't this great? I can do this, I can go there. It's a great story for me to tell people, right? But it wasn't until much later that I started to notice like that the quality of my consciousness was starting to change. You know, I was starting to release fear, you know, choosing love over fear. So
Mhm.
how was it starting to change you? What was coming up? Were you being tested? Was there been like guides working with you, giving you situations and scenarios where you had to make decisions?
Yes, the first part I come in in lower astral realities to learn to work with my fear and to release my fear. It was not so cool experience, but it was after a lot of years, one of the best experience because it transformed myself. Like you said, I always say when you want make out of body, first make into the body. So look what's inside you, because that what's inside you, you have a frequency, and your frequency will come to this experience, to this astral level, what's exact your frequency. So when you want to come to a light world with a lot of amazing stuff, you need to have inside yourself a light world, good thoughts and a good belief system, yeah? And clarity, and to be peaceful and thankful. And so it helps me in the first part to look in my shadow sides inside and to release it. Later on, when you make a lot of experience with this, the identity shift starts. So the first is before you have out of body experience, most people have the identity, I'm Marco and I'm in this body and this is my body. Or let's say I'm this body at the beginning. Later it starts, oh, I use this body. And at night I'm in a different body. And when you have a lot of more experience, so you learn, oh, I'm only consciousness and I change how often I can my body. So it's kind of, you change the car or you read different books. And this belief system about your identity is a big shift in a big truth about yourself, who you really are and what's behind yourself. And then after around 1,000 out of body experience, it starts to make a next quality out of body experience. It was, I call it, I don't know what's the true name for it, but I call it soul travel. This is the experience where you don't go into out of body state. It's more like you have a extremely experience with, let's say, 5-meo DMT, or a very big soul travel where you are not fixed, bounded on anybody, and you come in there. I come there in a higher state of consciousness where reality is it's a different form of reality. It's not 3D, it's more consciousness self. And it was the level of the higher self. And then I was often there, and I make experience in the soul travel, higher self experience. And then it comes to the next level where I call it God, where God exists, and make a lot of experience with God's self. And then I come this next level where a lot of gods there, and one God is only a duplication of the other one. And then I come later on this, I call it quantum consciousness, on this only one consciousness. What's kind of, he have no identity, because you can't call it God, you can't call it anything, because it's more a water, a ocean,
Like a plane of existence, right?
Yeah, and he have this existence is everything, and have not identity to say, oh, I am this, because if start to say I am this, it's make it from self smaller than it is. And so it's only kind of Google, yeah? You give an input and it gives you output, nothing more. It's kind of information. Everything is,
And you
yeah.
And you traveled there in a sort of a disembodied state, right? No, you didn't have like an astral body. Your consciousness shifted into these higher states of reality, right? Planes of existence, God planes. And can you describe what they looked like or how they felt, Marko?
Oh yes. First was my journey starts also similar like Tom Campbell. I come always to this astral worlds, and I was skeptical, and I say, how it works, and how it is, and how is this made? Then one day, a good friend of mine come and say, Marko, that what you do is good for your brain, but not for your soul. So don't go there and make a research. Go there without any plan and make experience. And this was a big shift for me, because then I start my out of body travel without any, how this works and this, because I was always in the matrix, and the matrix say, you want this? Here, let's go. And I lose myself in information, how everything happened. It's good for the brain, but not to go up higher. And when I go there and I have no idea what my focus was not how this works. My focus was what's behind this and who create this. And so I don't believe that what I see. And so I come to the next levels of consciousness. And this, then the really self exploration starts to see in the first level of the higher self. I have a lot of experience. The one experience was I was there, and it's not you are there and you visit yourself there. It's more wake up in this consciousness and remember, I'm always there. I only make an imagination about anything, and I bring myself in this body, on this planet, in this earth, to make my fantasy true, my imagination true. And then I wake up and you are there. And that the first thing what I realized when I was first time this consciousness of the higher self is it's completely different. Yeah. Completely different from a human being. The first thing was when a human has fear about anything, in this realization of who you really are, it's different. It's like you take a paper and you draw a monster there, and then you look to your monster and you have fear about your draw. So in this consciousness is, you know that everything what's happened in your life, you draw it. Why you have fear about, you create it because you want to make this experience. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good for the human because the human don't know why you have this experience. But when you die, maybe you know it. And when you have luck and you have a realization about, you know it before. This is the first. The second is I see a lot of pixels in every pixel was the different incarnation of myself, and it was thousands around me. And it's only one of a lot of experience. The thing is, every experience is different. It's only to learn and to see anything from a different perspective. So it's not when you come there, it's always the same. It's always different. But what I see there is these pixels. What I see every, let's say, game, what I play, 1,000 games at a similar time. And I see that the higher self is different in the being of himself. It was more, it's not, let's say, similar to human life and human beings. So, oh, this is not good, this is good, this is good, and let's make it this. It's more, this is my creation of myself. And I make the experience of myself in the mirror of myself, of my thoughts, who I am and what I'm now in a consciousness. So when you are in a consciousness about happiness and love, you make that, you see that the identities of yourself do things similar to your consciousness state. And the higher self thinks the whole time, I love you so much, my, let's say, children, creation. And it was when you are there and anyone is very sickness and you go there, you hug him and you help him. This gives the higher self this kind of, it gives him the love, what you create in this reality. And it's constantly, let's say, a tunnel where the emotion of the love creates the higher self consciousness. What's also
So harnessing it harnesses, the higher self is harnessing the love that you're creating in this reality. So it's sort of like taking that back up into itself to fuel itself, or to,
it's still in this consciousness. We can say it like this: the matter, where what we see before us, is here. Yeah. So this is, let's say, matter is body, the body of God, because everything is the same matter. It's only one big body. So, and why matter exists? To create experience. So it's only there to create any experience, to see, to make an experience. So when we make experience, when we make the whole day experience, from the morning to the evening, from the beginning of our life to the death, it comes to this part, and this is the brain. What the brain do? It's in the brain is an evaluation system, a kind of rating system, and it say it's good, it's bad, or feel like this. And only thing what they do later is reaction. So the only thing why we are here is to make a reaction for that what happened. And I asked them what define myself, and the answer was, your reaction of that what happened define who you really are. So when you have a good reaction about things, then you know who you are. When you have a bad reaction, then you know who you are. It's not good or bad. It's only to say yourself who you are. And in this evaluation system in the brain, the magic happens, because anything happen in this matter. Also, you have the information about what happened, and in the brain starts a process about thoughts. So you have a true inside yourself, and this true generate thought. Oh, this was good. What he do? I don't know. And this thoughts comes together with your belief systems, and this generate a main thought, and this main thought generate a main emotion about that what happened. And this main emotion is generating a fire. So it's generate energy. And this energy generate on the other side in the brain more thoughts about, and the thoughts systems. And you have more thoughts, and when anything happened and you start to think about, and complex thinking about, and you start to speak with other people about. And so it generates a thought system about this reaction. And then it generates, it fire the fire. So the energy, the emotion is always becomes stronger and stronger. And when the emotion have enough energy, it's sent from here up to the soul. So we can say here is body, here is mind, and here is the soul. And this state of consciousness, so the emotion and the thoughts generate together the state of consciousness. And this is that what's going up to the soul, to the higher self. And the higher self is in this state of what you generate there. I'm in the state. And in the state of the higher self, it's a quantum system. So it's not, our reality is not made by a line where this happened and this is now and this must happen later. It's more a plate. I'm now here and I can choose now when I have my free will to do this, then this will happen. When I choose different thing, this will happen on this direction. So this is that what I see in the higher state of consciousness, that the reality is not a line, it's a singularity of possibilities. And that what happened is made by your state of consciousness. So you know it from yourself. When you wake up and you are very happy today, you see that everyone around you is happy. And good things happen. The weather is cool. Good stuff happen on this day. But when you wake up and you have a bad thought or anything emotional, bad thing, you see bad news. People are crazy. They don't look good. And a lot of stuff. So everything what's around you is a reflection of your inner state of consciousness. So what I see there is that our reaction generate the state of consciousness of the higher self, and the state of consciousness generate a line back to matter on the quantum reality. I see it quantum system of God, and this generate the next things what you will see, and the next thing what in your belief system what is for you. So when you have a true about I'm a bad guy and the world is always bad and the people are bad, then this generates these thoughts and emotions, state of consciousness, and you see always the reflection of your belief system in the outside of the world. And this is the magic behind. So we can see everyone lives his individual world and also together in the collective quantum world with God together with other worlds. And we are in a big system where everyone is come together and help him with his story. And this is one of the magic things what happened when I was then. I see these pixels. I see it was when you play 1,000 games at the same time, you lose yourself in this game. But one thing was very crazy. Sometimes one of these, let's say, characters go to the mirror and look in his face, in his eyes. Then it was a corn in the sand. So, oh, what's happened now? You remember yourself, oh, I'm looking now in my eyes. But the individuality, when they look in the mirror, doesn't see it see only his individuality in his consciousness of humanity. But in this state, you realize, oh my God, I look now in my eyes, and this guy there don't know that I watch him now. And this was very crazy for me. It was so amazing. It was a wake up in who you really are. And this was one experience, and it was amazing experience because it showed me the higher self, how it works, and how the system works with the individuality, the higher self, and later the connections to God's self.
Okay, so quick question that comes up, right? When we talk about this higher self. So you spoke about pixels, right? All of these different pixels being connected to the one higher self. Would that be correct in what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, I think Tom Campbell would call it like the oversoul, right? And then you have the individual units of consciousness. So the pixels, like how many of them pixels are connected to that one oversoul?
All of them.
Is there all of them?
Yeah.
So if we take the planet, are we talking about the whole population of the planet? is all sharing one oversoul or one higher self, or is there
Mhm.
multiple higher selves?
Multiple. It's kind of this one. You are there and you play, let's say, 1,000 games at the same time. Why?
Hmm.
Why not? Because the possibility from the higher self is better than the humanity.
Yeah.
And it's not that everyone on this planet is play this game is from this soul. It's more of a lot of games are open at the same time, and they make that what's now in your consciousness state. So they make, when you think about one thing, so you need, let's say, you want to write a book about anything. But to write this book, you need to have discipline. So at the same moment, you start a new game with an incarnation where you train discipline. So one character play training discipline. Other one playing, oh, I need to have out of body experience. You need for this 10 incarnations and 10 different people train out of body in their life, everyone on a different way. And so you play it. And when you have ideas, what you want to do now, you start the game and it plays for yourself. And it's not that you have completely control as higher self. It's more of, I duplicate myself and I give 2% of my consciousness to this individuality and I give you a plan. Do it, a Blaupause. So do it and you guide him. It's more a guiding, yeah, and see what's happened. Yeah? And when you guide him, then you are better. You learn it better when you guide your individuality. And when you say do this, that the individuality is more a robot, and the feeling is not so good. The emotion is not so intense.
So you're saying free will, right? It's better if they have free will.
Yes, but with a plan. Yeah, you need to do this. This is the plan for your life to have this. If not, why I do this? Why I have this thoughts?
But they forget the plan, right? So
Yes.
so how is the plan fed to the person, to the player?
When you remember yourself, yeah, your life, sometimes when you wake up and you brush your teeth, if you brush it from this side or from this side, for the higher self, it's not important how you do it. Or when you open the door from the left or from the right hand, it's not important for the higher self. And we have a lot of things in our life where we can choose. Yeah, we know it. Yeah, everything when we think, let's do it so or let's do it so, you have the choice. But sometimes when you remember your life, everyone can do it. You come to a situation where you have no choice. So you know it before it happened. You know when this happened, I have to do this. Or when I met this person, I feel the love. You can't do anything about it. You don't know to learn about anything. You feel it. Because our reaction is controlled by our feelings. And the feelings is that what the higher self do. It's in a consciousness state of feeling and it's controlled their individualities by the emotions. We know it, everyone. Your logical brain can say this, but when you feel love, you will fall in love. Your brain can say, but this person doesn't match for me. But when you feel it, you will go with this person. So, and this is what I learned, that the emotion control us, and you have no control about the emotion. What the higher self say, what you have to do. So this was the same like us two. When we hear both first time about out of body, we fall in love and we go with our brain and our mind and our time and money and what else in this direction of out of body. And so this is what I mean. So when you feel it and you have no choice, you do it. Yeah.
Okay. So all of this is happening now, right? And I remember speaking to you back in Lumley Castle, and you were telling me that all of a sudden you started feeling these love states where you would just like emanate love, and all of your reality started to change. People would come up and talk to you, and give you hugs in the park and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So was that around that time? Was that what was happening? You were starting to see that, okay, all of these players or these pixels, the way you describe them, the ones that are sort of like having a positive outlook, they're connected to the love, right? Their reality seems to go much smoother, right? The information and the virtual reality changes for them people. It runs much smoother versus the ones who are negative, stuck, nothing works. Their reality is being created differently, right, than the people who are having a positive reality.
Mhm.
So you've come back now into the body, right? And your reality is starting to change around you. Is that what you noticed?
No, this was a different experience. It was more an enlightenment experience where I meditate so much that my critical mind turns off and I wake up at this awakened mind for some months, and the reality is always in love with everything. And I see the reaction of the people is the mirror of my consciousness state. So when you are in a state of love, you see everything around you. You go in a train and you go inside and you sit down. Everyone stands up and come to you and wants to sit nearby you and hug you and speak with you, because this is that what they say. It's you become the light, and the light is always the love what's inside you. And when you turn off your critical mind, then the candle burns. And that this is a very beautiful experience. One of the best experience what I had in my life, to have this experience from the enlightenment state of consciousness. And this is also a good guide about what's behind the matrix. It's always the state of your consciousness to create a mirror of that what inside you. And as if we are always, everyone is a sun, and in front of us and behind us, around us is a mirror, and it's a reflection what's inside ourselves. Yeah, and this
Okay,
was
okay, so can we talk a little bit about like what happened to spark that? What was like the catalyst? What created that change, that
yeah,
awakening?
it was the books of Dr. David Hawkins. I read
Okay.
a lot of books from him, and it was kind of, I was guided from my higher self to the part of enlightenment. So from one day to the other, I start to read about, because I feel I want to make this experience. And I read books about, and I start to go to courses about, and then I start to meditate. And I start to meditate often. And then I start to meditate always. And then it comes, the running high. So when you
Yeah.
start running and you come in this emotional state of flow, oh yes, and you can't stop. And when you meditate, and I found a special meditation technique. It's amazing. You meditate every hour for 10 minutes. So a lot of people meditate 20 minutes in the morning, then it goes down. The critical mind goes down, then it goes up. And let's say at evening, 15 minutes, then the low goes a little bit down. But when you meditate every hour, 10 minutes, then you generate the waves, you slow it all down. And after 3 days, you wake up and you feel completely clear in the mind. You feel full with energy and creativity, because your critical mind is not is not here, it's here. And when you make it often, you slow it down. And after some weeks, I start to force this meditation technique. So I meditate really every hour, also in the night. I wake up every hour in the night, meditate 10 minutes, and I sleep. And then I change this 10 minutes to 15 minutes, later to 20 minutes. And then one moment comes where I meditate in every 3 seconds. So when I'm on the toilet and I sit there and I know I have now 3 minutes, I close my eyes and I meditate. When I hear and I turn on my computer and I need to wait 10 seconds, I meditate. And so my whole day was a meditation state. And then after 3 days in this meditation flow, it was a shift inside. And the shift was, you realize that when you are awake and you're not in meditation, then you realize when you move your hand, you realize, oh my God, I'm still in this meditation state, but I'm not in meditation, because the meditation is become one with that what you do when you are not in meditation. And then I come in this state of consciousness where I'm in a freedom. I don't want to think about anything. I was completely in the freedom. And then one moment comes, I was with friends. We was there on Sunday and there was 10 friends. And I sit there and I speak nothing. I only look what they do, what they speak. I was more a guy outside, watch a movie. Yeah, I was in a presence. And after some hours, one guy said to me, Marko, are you here? And I said, yes, since 3 hours I'm here. I doesn't realize that you are here. And I say, I also not. And then I go home and I want to work something on Sunday, and I go to the computer, I turn it on. And when I turn it on, I go first to start meditation. And I meditate and I hear a voice in the brain, and the voice say, don't go to the computer, meditate deeper. And I meditate 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, the voice come again and say, go to the toilet, go to the mirror. And then I go to the toilet and I look myself in the mirror and I look in the eyes. And when I was before in the state of silence and freedom, and I look in the mirror and everything becomes sharp. I see everything in my eyes so sharp. And then I realize first time, what is that, what Catholics say about the now? And I come first time in this moment of now inside. And I realize, oh, this is the now. Everything is sharp. Your brain is so sharp, but you are still your individuality. And then the voice come again, and it's time to release, to release everything, and to release my friendship, release my job, everything, and I release everything. And then it comes to this moment where I'm the only thing what exists there, because I release everything, and then say, now you need to release yourself. And then with my training before, it was not so easy, not so complicated. And I release myself and die. And I do, okay, when this is my last moment on earth, I'm ready for it. I release myself and I give me in this yes, in this now, inside. And then I fall in this black hole and I fall down. And what then happened was I start to laugh and at the same time to cry, because I realize in this moment, this is the moment of awaken, that my life before, I doesn't live this life. It was my brain with the neurons who make the reaction of everything what I see before, what I do before. This was not me. It was kind of autopilot of my brain. And then I say, okay, this is a big joke. So I'm not this guy. And then this is the reason why a lot of people say it's awaken, because then you really wake up. When you was born, you're not wake up there. Your brain is born. And then you lose yourself in the brain, and the brain do what it want. But then the enlightenment is to really wake up, where you realize, okay, now I know who you am. And then magic happens, because with my extremely meditation state, I train in this state of enlightenment. Normal, it's for a lot of people, it's only for some minutes or for some days or for some months or weeks. But for me, with this extremely meditation, and every meditation, every minute, I learned to hold my consciousness in this state. And it was about 7 months in this state of consciousness. And this 7 months was for me the best time of my life. Yeah. When I wake up in the morning and I open the window, I was the whole day at the window because I see the tree in front of myself, and I was the tree, I was the bird, and the air. I realized when I breathe the air inside, the air, I breathe the Holy Spirit in myself. And when I breathe it out, I breathe the Holy Spirit out. So I realized that everything around myself is my Holy Spirit in matter. And it was so a freedom, this state, that I was in a completely happy state. I come to the park and I was the whole day there, and everything was magic. Yeah? And after some month, the guides, what I see there at night, tell to me it's now time to to bring that what you learn to humanity. And then I stopped meditation from one day to the other. I stopped completely meditation, and then it takes some days, and then I realized my critical mind was awakened back, and I come out of this state. And then I start my YouTube channel to make a lot of videos about consciousness and out of body states, everything what I make there as experience.
And just to let the viewers and the listeners know that Marko has a huge YouTube following of nearly 200,000 people, right?
Yeah.
And it's mainly German speaking people.
Yes, only German.
Yeah, all your videos are in German, because I was going
Yes.
through them and I was like, oh, okay, everything's German.
Yes.
Okay, so you started making these videos, and you talk about your work, all of these different states you've been in, and then you wrote a book as well, Marko. So do you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about what
yes.
got you to the book? And
Yes, you will love it. What's inside?
yeah,
This book is written. Most part of this book is written in one night. Ceremony, and I come there. I come in a part of my life where I was not so happy. So I have a lot of problems with myself and a lot of stuff. And I released my relationship, 14 years relationship with my wife, and I can see my son, and I was in a very bad state of consciousness. And then a friend of my company told me then they are at this ayahuasca ceremony, and they, if I also want to come there. And I say, no, I don't know. I don't use any substances. I don't want to go there. And on this day when this ceremony was, I helped my best girlfriend to drive to her flat to make a big change there. And we drive there and we say, let's go visit them and let's hear only my frequencies there. And we come there, and the guide on this retreat told me that they don't have this illegal DMT, the ayahuasca, what's in Europe not allowed. They have only the Steppenrauta, so the Mao-Hemba, it's called, the monoamino oxidase.
5-MeO, I think it's called. Is it in English? 5-MeO?
No, it's the legal version of DMT. So it's only that what blocks the body, what produce the body own DMT, and blocks the blocker because the body blocks the whole time your own DMT, and that's what they use there is to block the blocker that your own body DMT can flow. And what I do is I say my intention on this retreat was I want call with God, and I want to ask him about everything. What's my questions? Very critical questions. I was before forensic expert, court expert, and so very critical and logical. And I drink this, I wait 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes, magic happened. Yeah? Because I feel like I need to write anything. And I go to Philip, he was the retreat teacher, and I tell him I need paper. And he give me 2-3 papers. And so, no, I need a lot of paper to write a book. He start to log, and he go back and come and give me, I show you this. It's here. And he give, and this paper, this one here. I start to write on this because I come then to my place, and in my mind was, I have a question, and it was the same like you call with God, and it's not your thoughts. It's kind of, you have a question and you have God on the phone, and he gives you in a different voice, in a different mind, in a different quality, the answer. And I start to ask about my life and about the life self. And he tell me, you need, before we can speak about your life and your questions, you need to understand first where you are now. So on how the matter is made, how the reality is constructed. To understand where you are, when you understand this, then you need to understand individuality, to understand why individualities are in the matter, in this position of room, and why they make this kind of experience. So the individuality exists only to make experience together. When you understand this, then we can speak about consciousness, because this consciousness is created by the experience was what the individuality do in the matter. And when you know this, how consciousness is created, then we speak about everything, why this everything happened. Yeah. And then we can speak about the big questions of life. And so I ask all questions about this. This was so crazy. What then happened? So I write in the first day this whole book, and it was really crazy. And in the next day, in the reflection round, I read it for some people, some things, some parts, and then one guy comes to me and say, "Marko, this is good what you write there. It's very good, but it's for my mind. It's not for my soul. It's my mind can accept it, but my soul say anything is missing." Yeah? And then I choose to be a second day there, because this was a 3 days retreat from Saturday to Sunday, and I choose to stay there. And on my next day, I go with the intention not to understand God and reality and everything about. My intention was to make the experience about. And then I come back to the place, and then the really magic happens. 30 minutes later, it was completely different experience from the day before. It was, I call it 3 doors. The first door was the experience about to control my consciousness state. The voice in the head say, when you want to make the experience of God, to understand who you really are and who you are all, you need to go through these 3 doors to pass it, because you need to learn 3 magical things, and then you can make this experience. And the first door was the space of no time. This was crazy, because in this moment, everyone around me, it was around 12 people, was frozen. So everyone was frozen, and I was only in this time where time not exists, because nobody is moving. Everyone was frozen, and I was 1,000 years in this moment inside, and it was not so cool for me. But I learn when I have thoughts, then I learn that my thoughts generate these emotions, and it bring me in other realities, and I make a lot of experience in other realities, and I come back. And I see, okay, when I come back, fuck, I'm in the body. Nobody is still moving. Time is not running. And I have this sort of panic, zack. The panic experience starts again. And I have thousands of experiences in this one moment. And after thousands of experiences, I don't know if it's thousands of years experience, I have the idea to what I can do to bring the time back to running. And the thing what I start is, the idea was, I start with mantras. I start with the first, it was the first, it doesn't matter. So everything what's now happened, I say to myself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I create a space for myself where I disconnect myself with that what is. The next what I say for myself was everything passed by and it will pass by. So everything will go. And the third mantra was don't think about. And I looped these 3 mantras, and then I learned to control my consciousness state, to bring it in the focus in this moment. And when I was completely in this moment with no thoughts, no nothing, time starts again. After 1,000 years of experience, I was so happy. Then I see why time is so beautiful. Then door 2 starts. Door 2 was crazy shit. It starts, my friends around starts to dissolve, to resolve, kind of sandy. So I see them and then they was not there. And I realize, this individuality doesn't exist really. It was only a reflection of myself to bring me to this point. And now it's not important to exist because it's only a story. It's not true. And then one after the other friend of mine is go floating away. After my best friend Lisa was there, and then I read, and everyone who is going away, I realized, oh, he doesn't exist. Only I exist. And later I go to my best friend, to Lisa, and ask her, please tell me that you are true. And she looked to me and I hold her face, look in her eyes, then her eyes become black. There comes black things out. And then she passed away and she was not there. And I realized, okay, also she's not exist. And then in myself, I have the feeling of only I exist. Only one consciousness is there. And this was very important for door 3, because when you have the integration of I can control my consciousness state and only one consciousness exists, then you're ready for gate 3. And then after this experience, gate 3 starts, and gate 3 was crazy because it was state of amnesis. So I looked there out and it was dark.
Amnesia, forgetfulness,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look out and I forget, I know anything was there, but I don't know what it was. Maybe day can come tomorrow, but I forget that it was that I know night, because I was 1,000 years in this experience and I don't know. I forget what is day. And then I get a little bit panic. So, oh my God, fuck, I start to forget relevant things about reality. But from the learning of controlling your consciousness, I accept it. I say, okay, forget it. It's not important. And then I start, the amnesis starts to grow up. And I have pictures from my cat in my brain, but no name of her. Everything. Still, I live in a house. But when I live in a house, why I don't have remember of my house? Have I a son? But why I don't know his name? No, I have no son. And it was so crazy. Then one part, I forget everything. I only remember that I'm existing and nothing else was existed. And then I come in this room where I forget my own existence. And then the release, the pass through of gate 3 comes. And I come to this, let's say, room, or the waiting room of the existence. And it was more a wake up in this room. And it was a lot of machines there with fractals, and they move and they make a crazy dissociation. And I remember, oh, fuck, I'm now awake from my dream. And it was my cosmic bed where my soul sleeps the whole time and dreams the reality. And I remember, oh, I'm awake. 1,000 times I wake here, millions of times I wake in this room. And it was more a waiting room before you go to a new incarnation or to a new room. And I wake up there, and this was crazy. This was very crazy. And then I wait The only thing what I dare do is I wait for that would happen now. And I wait, and then this gate 3 really start to explode. And then my consciousness goes up in this, let's say, God consciousness, where I release everything and go to the next level of existence. And this experience was with a big difference, the big difference of everything. In this state of consciousness, I realized that existence self is, so when God thinks about anything, he creates universes, individual souls, incarnations, humanity, to make his thoughts true. And I realized that not I, but we all together, we are this individuality, individual consciousness of this one big thinking consciousness God, who think about anything the whole time, and he create everything in this moment. It's kind of a self-conversation with himself. He wants to know who he is. He wants to understand how he is. He wants to see himself. He wants to see who have born him, who have created him. And so he create everything to show him that. He wants to see what's happened if I have a creator. Now we know what's happened when we have a creator, so he know it now. And I was in this consciousness state, I don't know how long, but it was crazy. It was very long. And after I think about a lot of things and create these universes. Then one moment I have the idea, I have one thought. I don't think this thought to the end. And it was the ask of myself. I think about God and the world. And I don't have finalized my thinking. And in this moment, I wake up because I think I want to write a book about God and the world and myself. And I wake up, and it was in the morning. Everyone was away. Only Lisa was there. And I was completely dissociated from these thousands of pictures, what I experience now. Lisa opened her eyes, and I don't say anything because I was not able to speak. And she looked in my eyes and she said first, "You are 1,000 years old. I see it in your eyes. Fucking what's happened?" And then I start to tell her where I was now, what I have making now for experience. And in this moment, when it was so fresh, this experience, when I start to tell her what's happened, I come in this human body, in this consciousness of God. And then this consciousness, what create everything, was in my body, and Marko is not existing. And then the shit happens. Then was God there with the 12 retreat people the whole day, and he speak with her and with them all that he is the only one creation of everything, and everything what they see is his thoughts. And he showed them, when I think that you come now in this room and you will go to there and tell this, it will happen. And then he told to Lisa, now Philip will come and we'll do this. In the next moment, Philip come and do this. And he said, how you do it? Because I am Philip. When I think that I come there as Philip inside, then I will do it. This was his truth, because everything is his thoughts. And this whole day, he'll teach Lisa and the other people about creation, about individuality, about consciousness, and about why everything happened. And a lot of things what I write in this book is inside. And then after one day, also it was really crazy. Everything was happening. It's too long story, but sure. It was magic because he changed matter and crazy stuff. So unbelievable stuff happened. And after this experience, I realized, because Lisa asked God why I have so much problems with my ex-wife. And he tell her, that she is not the problem. I'm the problem. He tell her that everyone live in his individual. And when you have the belief that the other people is a bad one and he do this, you will see this reflection of that. And when I think my ex-wife is a bad woman and she doesn't give me my son, then I will see why belief in this matter. And then he tell her, I need to change my belief about her to change my reality. And from this day, it was really so, 1.5 years before, I can see my son all 2 months, all month around for 1 day. And she was not able to give him for me. And after this day, it was really a completely change. I think she is the best ex-wife of my life, and she give him to me when I want. And I call her, I tell some days later, Lisa, so now I call my ex-wife to bring my son to me. And I say, but it's Monday. She will give him to me on Monday. And she tell me, God say, it's your belief when you believe this. And then, okay, that's right. I need to delete my belief. And then I call her. I say, can I see it today, Marcel? Yes, you can see it when you want. And from this day, she was person. And it was really, you go to take it, you press a button and it's a complete different person. And from this day, I can see him when I want, how long I want. It was really magic because my whole reality shifts. Because God speaks the truth. And I see in the reality the truth happen. And this was so changing and this is one of thousands of learnings what he gives us. And this was also the reason why I write this book to show.
So Marko, give us the name of the book in English.
The Great Mystery.
The Great Mystery. And there's a second book coming as well, right?
Yes, this is the Great Mystery Praxis book.
Okay. And everything that...
Yeah.
Say again?
Still only in German, but it will be Zoom.
Okay, so you're translating that into English. And that's basically, you've put all of your experiences from this interaction with God into this book as a manuscript for people to read.
Yes.
Correct?
It's only the half of the book is, let's say, until here, doors 3. 85 pages are until the experience of 1 day with God. And the other stuff is all the other experience with God after this experience. So I have a lot of other experience with this consciousness about existence, how my soul was born, or how the creation was created, what create later the creation of the soul. This kind of experiences are the last capitals. So crazy stuff.
And this book at the moment. So how long is this book out, Marko? It's been released only recently.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, you told me earlier how many copies of this book had been sold?
10,000.
Wow, 10,000! Incredible.
Yeah. And it's also still a Spiegel bestseller. So it's very cool.
Oh wow! And again, you said that it's going to be converted into English soon. And where can people get that book if they're watching this, so they can find it?
The website is the English site.
And I'll put a link below. The video.
thegreatmystery.com.
Thegreatmystery.com. So if you want to, but at the moment it's only in German. So any German people watching this, we'll put a link down below to Marko's book.
Yeah.
And also to your brainwave 3D meditations, right? That's what if you want to experience the meditations that Marko produces, and his website and his contact details.
Yeah.
So incredible story, Marko. Thank you so much for sharing.
And it's only, I think, the beginning of the story.
Maybe we'll have to get you back for part 2.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So thank you very much, Marko, and thank you to the listeners and the viewers. And hopefully we'll get Marko back for a part 2. Thank you, Marko.
Thank you, Gareth, and thank you for everyone.
It's been amazing story. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Okay.